Hello, my name is Edwin Link, and welcome to the Children's Museum of Atlanta. The idea for the Children's Museum of Atlanta was started long ago. We opened and started in 1989 as a museum without walls. All of our activities were out in the community. We wanted to ensure every child had access to high-quality play-based learning opportunities. It was in 2003 that we first started operating out of the location we're in today, here in downtown Atlanta at Centennial Park. And ever since then, we've welcomed over 3.6 million guests into the side of the space of our museum. When we designed the museum, it was all based in the science of play. And so the good news about play is a way to learn any new subject matter area: science, literacy, math, the whole host of it. For us though, when we think about the science of play, there's kinetic learning, meaning that's learning through movement. There's thought and reasoning play, which means logically that a child has to solve a problem. And that could be physically as well as mentally as well. And then there's, of course, imaginative play, which is the role playing. Believe it or not, that one is probably the most underrepresented amount of play that kids get nowadays, which is really unfortunate. But here in the museum, you're going to see it take place in every corner of the museum and all the exhibits. The museum impacts kids in a whole host of ways. Of course, there's educational opportunities. Even if parents and kids don't understand what they're doing is educational, they're learning something through play. But what's even more important is inside the space of our museum, we've set up exhibits so kids can learn about themselves. They can learn about how to name emotions. They can learn about how to deal and cope with those emotions as well. Even better is they're learning how to work with one another, which is a skill that we can all use nowadays. So whether you see it on a exhibit where kids have to take turns, taking turns and talking to one another, asking politely if they can do that, or working together to solve a problem in our design space upstairs, any number of ways they're going to learn both about themselves as well as the world around them. Families who come to Children's Museum of Atlanta are going to experience, quite frankly, everything. Anything from our ginormous ball machine, a cafe that the young kids get to run and operate, from a grocery store that goes from farm to table. One of our favorite exhibits for guests is the water play area, where young kids can fish in a small pond, splash and play in the water. And by the way, we clean up after them. Don't worry, Mom and Dad. And they get to have story time, live performances. A new feature at our museum is our Step Up to Science exhibit, which is upstairs. It's all STEM-based design activities, from very simple machines all the way to design challenges that adults and kids can get involved with. Families can look forward to a unique exhibit experience coming up shortly, and that's Outside the Box, in which young people and their families can come in this space and build whatever their imagination can dream up with cardboard boxes. This is one of those unique exhibits that only happens here in Atlanta, and it's amazing to see all of the different structures, the different machinations of what young kids can dream of. Children's Museum of Atlanta is committed to making sure all children get opportunities to play and learn. Our commitment to that shows up in many different ways. One way is every year we have at least 4 family-free days. These are days where we open the doors, and thanks to the graciousness of wonderful sponsors, we offer absolutely free admission, and anyone here is with us can come on inside the space of that. So that happens 4 times a year. Additionally, we have Sensory Sundays. These are days where our friends who might be overloaded or overwhelmed by a lot of different sounds, colors, and objects, we tone things down. We try to create as comfortable a space for them. We only allow so many people into the space of our museum to provide them a real opportunity to engage with what we have here. Play is critical to any child's upbringing. It's how they learn and understand the world around them. And unfortunately, young people, in fact, right now in the United States, on average, young kids in the elementary school age are only averaging about 4 minutes in outside play a day. That's a problem. Our young people, if that's the space where they're learning about themselves, learning about their friends, and being in informal play opportunities, that is critical to how they understand themselves, how they understand other people. So what we try to do is create that safe place where parents can come in, know and be guaranteed that their kid is going to have a fantastic time. They are going to be entertained as well, watching the joy in their child's face. And they can know that everything that they're doing has some quiet, very but clear learning objective tied to it. We're always focused on literacy skills because literacy is just not reading. Literacy is seeing letters, it's understanding what they sound like and their phonetics look like. So everything you see throughout there will have small labels that parents can read back to their child, that the child can identify themselves, and also just storytelling themselves. Believe it or not, imaginative play is a wonderful way to introduce the idea of literacy to a child. Gets them excited about stories, gets them inside the stories that they get to create, and whether it's in our farm, whether it's in our grocery store, whether it's in the cafe, that imagination takes off and truly it entertains a whole new world. The feedback from caregivers and kids alike is overwhelming. Look, they find the space positive. It's a safe place. We hear that a lot from our parents. It's a safe place for my kid to play, which is unfortunate, but we're so happy to provide that value that they have a totally safe place that they can come in. It's climate controlled. So in those hot Atlanta days, or even now in the colder days, it's a safe place and a comfortable place to play. But more importantly than anything, they feel like there's value in the experience that kids are having at each exhibit. Whether it's just the simple joy of playing or the fact that they know every single thing is designed such that a child is learning something new and different. The Children's Museum of Atlanta has definitely impacted this city, but I would also change that to say the city has impacted us. And I mean that because we truly look at ourselves as a response, a mirror to the city, right? To say, okay, what's new and different in the science of play and how can we give Atlantans access to that? But then vice versa, what's happening in our community in such a way that we can change the way we're thinking about how we offer programs, how we offer experiences inside the space of our museum.